Some latest news coming in, and this concerns the Kartarpur corridor as Pakistan plans to reopen the Kartarpur corridor on 29th of June. Sources at the Ministry of External Affairs have indicated that cross-border travel has been temporarily suspended as part of measures to contain the spread of COVID-19, noting that Pakistan is trying to create a mirage of goodwill with a short notice of just 2 days. MEA sources say that the bilateral agreement provides for information to be shared by both sides at least 7 days before the date of travel. This would need India to open up the registration process well in advance. Ma Siddiqui is with us on the broadcast, getting us more perspective on the story. Ma, how should we understand this development? The LAC is tense at this point in time. We have seen the sort of relations we have had with Pakistan in the recent past. How does one understand this gesture?
Well, this gesture, as government sources are putting it out, Anusha, does seem that Pakistan is putting out a mirage of goodwill, because it is very well known that at this point in time, when the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak has, just engulfed this entire region, and it's not just India, even Pakistan is grappling with it at the moment. The religious places have, of course, opened, but cross-border movement is something that the government is still not comfortable with. That is why you have seen international flights not being opened up. Despite knowing all these realities, if Pakistan is offering to open up the Kartarpur corridor, saying that pilgrims will be allowed there, that is why the sources have come out with this explanation that is just this is just a mirage that they are trying to create. There is really no goodwill, so to speak, of connected with this move.
Yeah.
Secondly, what they are pointing out also is a very important fact, Anusha, is that Pakistan is yet to complete that overbridge that we had been talking about last year. Remember, they had said that they will not be able to complete it, and India has said that it will do so in goodwill because, the celebrations of the Guru Nanak anniversary had to go on, and it is to the commitment that was made by both sides. So India has said that there will be a temporary structure built by India. Pakistan had committed in the bilateral agreement that they will complete it. They haven't been able to do so. And with monsoons now arriving, will it even be possible for pilgrims to be able to go through that stretch without that bridge completed? So all these are factors that Pakistan hasn't factored in, but they've just simply put out this, this offer that they are going to open the Kartarpur corridor, and they've given like a 2-day heads up. That is why this response coming from
Gurugram and Delhi as well. Gurugram City Administration had earlier warned the residents that DLF Phase 4, Chakkarpur, Sikandarpur, Sukhrali areas. These are all very busy areas. Delhi Environment Minister Gopal Rai has shared an emergency meet over the possible locust attack in the national capital. Rupashri Nanda is with us on the broadcast. Rupashri, any precautions advised by the government?
No, we do not have whether any precautions or advisory has been issued by the government yet. We expect that the Delhi government will issue an advisory. And remember, this is the second time that Gopal Rai is chairing such a meeting. The first time it had happened in May. And at that time, the Delhi government had essentially issued an advisory and had asked farmers and also officers at the field level to take precautions to protect their crop and other stuff from locust attacks. So what we expect is, after the meeting, the government will issue a similar advisory for the citizens, and also directions to the officers at the district level to take action and to be alert against a possible locust attack.
All right, Rupashri Nanda getting us all the very important details on that story. So the Delhi government has called in an emergency meeting. In some time from now, we should expect some guidelines or precautions that the government may spell out. Let's talk about Andhra Pradesh. In shocking incidents of government apathy, authorities in Andhra Pradesh, Srikakulam, towed away COVID-19 deceased on JCB excavator and tractors. While in Sompeta, the body of a deceased was carried away in a tractor. In Palasa, a 72-year-old coronavirus patient body was placed on a mechanical digger and excavators by PPE-clad municipal personnel and taken away for cremation. Multiple incidents being reported. Now, after these incidents came to light, the district collector suspended two civic body officials for their laxity in performing their duty, ordered to probe into the incident. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy called the handling of the incident an inhumane act and slammed the officials for not following the necessary protocols to shift the body. So those are the stories coming in. The Chief Minister's office himself has taken cognizance of this entire incident. There is also a bench of the High Court which is looking into this entire matter. The Madurai bench of the Andhra Pradesh High Court has taken cognizance of this entire matter. There is also a recent Supreme Court order which talks about how the dead should have dignity. The cremation of the bodies should be done in a proper manner, in a respectable manner by the government authorities. There have been a lot of issues as far as the state of Andhra Pradesh is concerned. We have witnessed this in the entire country where many people, family members have refused to take the body of a COVID-19 deceased patient. Many people who have had COVID-19 are unable to return to their homes because their family fears for their own safety. These are all the stigmas and canards which have been associated with COVID-19, and incidents like these only tell us that there should be dignity in death, and the administration has a positive duty to ensure that. Meanwhile, at this district level, cognizance has been taken. The local collector has ordered an inquiry into this entire matter. But we have to wait and watch how this progresses on, while the High Court is also looking at this entire case. From one apathy to another, the custodial death of a father-son duo in Tamil Nadu's Thoothukudi has sparked massive outrage in the state. The death of the father and the son following allegations of torture is snowballing into a major political row and has triggered calls for law enforcement reform. P. Jayaraj and his son Benix were arrested for keeping their mobile phone shop open beyond the permitted hours last Friday. They died at a hospital 4 days later. The relatives alleged that they were severely thrashed at the local police station. Following outrage, 4 police personnel, including 2 sub-inspectors, have been suspended. The inspector has also been benched by the state government. While Chief Minister Palanisamy announced ex gratia of 20 lakh for the family, he has been silent on the alleged torture and the demand for registration of an FIR. The case has also been taken up by the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court. Now, opposition party DMK, while targeting the state government over this incident, announced 25 lakh ex gratia for the family of the victims. Listen in to what Kanimori had to say. Spoke to Thoothukudi MP Kanimori, who has written to the NHRC over the custodial deaths. Listen into that conversation.
With this kind of grievous assault on the father and you, only a suspension and transfer so far. It's been more than 8 days since this incident took place, more than 5 days since both of them died within a gap of 10 hours. Ma'am, what is the DMK's demand? Because there's outrage pouring in that there should be stringent punishment for those who
Yes,
brutally
we,
assaulted.
I think only after the public outcry and once the political parties start to speak up because of the pressure that they have even suspended, 4 officers. Before that, it was just transfers. I think they should file an FIR and book this as a murder case and issue arrest warrants and arrest these people who are behind this. I don't understand, why the government cannot do that. And there are clear guidelines also given by the Human Rights Commission, saying that even the same police station should not be investigating. Either it should be the CBCID or any other investigation agency which has to carry out the investigation. And they have to be booked under culpable homicide.
Right.
Why can't the government do that?
Absolutely. Ma'am, you met the family yesterday. What are
Yes.
what are their thoughts, and everyone wants stringent action because this is something that should not have happened in the first place. But what is the family telling you, ma'am?
The family is completely under shock and they haven't come to terms or any kind of understanding of what has happened to them. And that is, quite natural, given the circumstances they've lost 2 people. But more than that, they only want justice. They don't. They said compensation or nothing else matters. They're very clear that they want justice.
Right.
That action should be taken against these people.
Ma'am, my last
And
question
see,
to you.
one more
Sorry.
thing I like to say is
Hmm.
this is not against the entire police force. It is against people who are there, who bring shame to the police force. We've seen the remarkable work police personnel have been doing. So it is not against the entire force, but there are people, and this is not the only case which has happened. We know that this has been happening. This will continue to happen if we don't put proper protocols to stop this in place. That is why it becomes more important now.
Proper action should be taken, and this case should be registered as a murder case, because the entire Tamil Nadu is opposing this, and also the media, everybody for that matter. So we have already said that the government should take a very severe action. You cannot say that the chief is shielding these people. I think that is a different word. I don't get into that, and I don't accept that also. I don't blame the entire police department for this. Definitely, what has happened is unfortunate and highly condemnable. The action should be taken on them by the state government. There is no second thought to it, second opinion to it.
All right, talking about the latest COVID numbers, India crosses the 5 lakh mark as it reports the highest single-day spike of 18,552 new cases, 384 deaths in the last 24 hours. Maharashtra, Delhi, Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh recorded the highest daily jump for the 8th day in a row. The silver lining is that the recovery rate has been steadily improving to touch 58%. Over 2.9 lakh patients have recovered as opposed to 1.9 lakh active cases. The fatality rate has also gone down to about 3.1%. Over 79 lakh 96,000, much more than that, samples have been tested until today by the concerned authorities. Now, Union Health Minister Dr. Harsh Vardhan, he also chaired a meeting with a group of ministers to discuss the situation and the plan ahead. Listen in to what he had to say.